session of the Oconee County Board of Education to order. First thing we need is a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Burgess?
Second.
Mr. Ransom, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Next, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Branch.
Thank you, Ms. Argo. Board members, thank you for being here. We've got a lot of great things going on in the school system, so I was joking earlier with someone that we should start calling this a good news report. Lots of great things taking place. I know that many of you had the opportunity to attend the County Star Student and Teacher Banquet, where we saw John Nesbitt from Oconee County High School be chosen from all the public and private high schools in our county. Of course, you know that John had a 1600 perfect SAT score. Chose Jacob Forrester as the star teacher, and we're excited that we'll be going to the regional competition, our regional award ceremony, March 14th in Athens, to see if he can go forward. We think he's got a pretty good shot with a 1600 perfect score. So, also want to celebrate Andrew Hawkins from North Oconee. We had the opportunity to have a ceremony with Andrew and his family, and Congressman Mike Collins come down to recognize Andrew for earning an appointment to the United States Naval Academy. So I think that's a great day for that, and a great achievement for that young man, both of those young men. Just as those young men are ending their Oconee County Schools career, we're getting ready to have many students begin. And I'm told that today we opened our online registration for kindergarten, and our first completed paperwork was done by 7 a.m. this morning. And I think it just checked it before we came in here, and we've had 100 eager parents and students already signed up to begin their kindergarten experience. Of course, this is just the online process that takes us through Monday through Friday is kind of our start. Obviously, they can continue to do that as we prepare to go forward. And then March 25th will be the beginning of the screenings where the students actually come to our campuses. We're excited to see our Dragons, Chiefs, Hawks, Rockets, Mustangs, and Eagles that are going to be joining us going forward. As was mentioned earlier by some of our board members as we were just kind of talking, we've had some wonderful basketball here lately. Both North Oconee teams played in the Final Four. The girls concluded their wonderful season in those Final Four games. The North Oconee boys, however, came out triumphant and will be playing for the state championship on Wednesday in the Macon Coliseum against Holy Innocents. So we look forward to going on and cheering on the Titans. Is the head Titan back there?
Go Titans.
Go Titans, there you go. He's available for parties and weekends too. We also had individual state champions that were all repeating as state champions. We had North Oconee's Vera Spencer and Oconee County's Nathan Bowen were champions in wrestling, and North Oconee Aiden Sadler and Ivy Buckley in diving. So lots of great accomplishments athletically for our students. Both of our high schools, Oconee and North Oconee, were also chosen once again by the Department of Education as 2024 Advanced Placement Honor Schools, something that I think has been taking place for at least a decade. They were recognized in 5 categories: schools of distinction, which is the highest honor, STEM and STEM achievement schools, humanities, and Humanity Achievement School. Excuse me. Those are the 5 categories that they were all recognized in. Several of our students, 13 in fact, were district level winners in the Young Authors competition. That's representing 7 different schools, and those students will go on to the regional competition this month. 11 of our students from Oconee County High School and North Oconee were chosen as Governor's Honors semifinalists. A variety of categories including math, visual arts, world language, social studies, music, dance, and theater performance were represented in those. They recently completed interviews down at Georgia Southern, and the finalists and alternates will be named this month as well. Keeping that great thing going, we had 11 students, again, from both of our high schools selected as National Merit Scholarship finalists, which enables them to qualify for a variety of scholarships provided by that program. So life-changing opportunities for our students. And if that wasn't enough, we've got a busy week that we just began. Read Across America Week. It is National School Breakfast Week, which I know my students are excited about. Breakfast for lunch is never a bad thing. And it's also National School Social Worker Week, so we want to appreciate our outstanding social workers that do so much for our students and families. Next week, of course, is School Board Appreciation Week, so we look forward to celebrating our governing team. And then this month, we're also National Nutrition Month and National Music in Our Schools Month, so maybe you can eat in our cafeterias and listen to a little bit of music. Finally, next Monday, although we do have a board meeting, will be a Professional Learning Day, and Dr. Stansel and her staff work with the principals to ensure that we've got lots of outstanding professional learning. We want to make sure that our staff continues to learn just like our students each and every day. So that concludes Superintendent's report. It is spring, so it was rather lengthy, but there's always a lot of great things going on as we enter these last few months.
Thank you, Dr. Branch.
Yes, ma'am.
Next on our agenda is presentations and discussions. First, we have the Teaching and Learning report. Welcome, Dr. Stansel.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Dr. Branch. The Teaching and Learning report contains 4 items of information and 2 action items. The first item of information is an update on Career, Technical, and Agricultural Education, or what we call CTAE Month. February is recognized as CTAE Month, and our own middle and high school CTAE classes utilize this opportunity to promote their program areas and provide information to students and parents during the course registration process. Parent nights were held at the high schools and middle schools to educate students on course offerings and pathway choices, and 8th grade career students had the opportunity to tour high school CTAE classrooms. The second item of information is an update on our kindergarten registration process. Parents, like Dr. Branch said, are registering through our online system this week, and that will continue as we continue throughout the year. We are extremely excited to welcome our newest members of Oconee County Schools to our schools on March 25th and 26th for their actual kindergarten screenings. The third item of information is an update on our Regional Science and Engineering Fair. 10 OCS students competed at the Regional Science and Engineering Fair on February 3rd, which was held at Piedmont University. Of those 10, we had 8 gold medalists, 1 silver medalist, and 1 bronze medalist. Additionally, 3 of our middle school students received the Piedmont Rising Researchers Award. The highest honors were awarded to OCS students in the junior and senior divisions and went to OCS sisters from DCMS and NOHS. They both received the Jackson EMC and Janssen Pharmaceuticals Pinnacle Award. The fourth item of information is an update on our strategic planning process. We are continuing to develop our initiatives and action steps, and we'll bring that plan to the board next month. Our first action item is a proposed reading and writing curriculum called Benchmark Workshop. Based on the Georgia Literacy Act, House Bill 538, and Georgia's dyslexia efforts through Senate Bill 48, there are several steps we need to take in order to continue to provide our students with excellent instruction in the area of literacy. There are 5 key components that we must ensure in place, one of those being instructional materials that are aligned to the science of reading. We currently have the Foundations program in place that meets the phonics portion of this requirement. We need additional components of a reading and writing program to combine with Foundations to give us a core reading program, which is required. Benchmark Workshop is aligned with the science of reading and provides that missing piece that we need. This instructional resource will be available for review at the Teaching and Learning Office. This will be paid for using general fund dollars. The superintendent's recommendation is to approve placing this curriculum on the table at the March 11th, 2024 Board of Education meeting for public review and comment until the next Board of Education meeting. The second action item is an update on our 6 through 12 social studies and science curriculum. Just to give you a little history, new science and social studies standards were approved in 2016. Implementation of the standards and a review and selection process of learning resources occurred in the 2017-18 school year. These resources were recommended to the board and approved in the spring of 2018. It has now been 6 years and those resources are up for renewal. Teams of teachers and administrators from all schools in Oconee County reviewed and selected updated science and social studies learning resources. These instructional resources will be available for review at the Teaching and Learning Office. This will be paid for using general fund dollars. The superintendent's recommendation is to approve placing the curriculum on the table at the March 11th, 2024 Board of Education meeting for public review and comment until the next BOE meeting. And that concludes the teaching and learning report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions?
Okay, so on the benchmark workshop, you're talking about how it would dovetail with foundations.
That's correct.
I know that we expanded foundations across additional grade levels. Could you refresh me on what grade levels foundations now covers? And then will this cover the exact same grades as foundations?
Yes, so foundations covers kindergarten through 3rd grade, and the benchmark workshop will pair with foundations and cover those same grade levels.
Okay. And so this will be a new, so we have to do something to expand the curriculum based on state law.
That's correct.
And that's coming from general fund dollars.
That's correct.
Do we have the upfront costs and then any recurring subscription costs for that during that contracted period?
So we have we would pay the entire cost up front.
Okay.
And then it would be good for the next 5 years. And I don't have the upfront cost in front of me, but I can get it to Dr. Branch.
Good, thank you. And similar question just on the social studies and science curriculum. Are we renewing that with the same group or is it a different group?
So we're reviewing that with our Science and Social Studies Action Team members,
Okay.
and those have been determined by their principals as leaders. Some of those may still be on Action Team from when we
Okay.
reviewed those in 17-18, but there may be some new teachers on that as well.
Okay. From the curriculum standpoint on what's being recommended, is it going to be the same curriculum that's been
Yes.
recommended? Okay, so
That's correct.
no changes there?
No changes in standard, it's just time to renew the resources. And a lot of the resources will just be the renewed additions of the resources that we have.
And probably fair to say that they're not going to honor their same price that was done in 2017?
That's probably fair to say.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Stansel. Next, we have technology. Welcome, Dr. White.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. Technology has one action item for next week's board regular session meeting. Technology's only action item is our spring technology surplus list based on our current replacement cycle. These items have been identified as surplus based on this cycle. Superintendent's recommendations for the Board of Education to approve this surplus at next week's meeting. That concludes technology's report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next is human resources. Welcome, Mr. Copeland.
Thank you. Members of the board and Dr. Branch, tonight's human resources report contains one item of information and one action item for this evening. Our item of information is a recruitment update, just to share some of the things and initiatives that we've been doing. As you know, we've been heavily focused on our classified recruitment endeavors this school year and thinking of ways to be creative in getting new candidates for our school system. Last semester, we hosted recruitment events out in the community at both the Dunkin' Donuts on Epps Bridge, as well as the parking lot of Oconee Middle at the corner of Experiment Station. This semester, our HR team has worked with Goodwill's Career Center and have now attended 2 recruitment events hosted by Goodwill, one at their location on Atlanta Highway and one at their location on Lexington Road. Goodwill's mission is a simple one: to put people to work. They use the funding generated through donations to operate career centers that assist in finding local citizens jobs within the community. Later this semester, they'll be hosting an event specific only for Oconee County schools as we seek candidates for each of our classified positions. We are incredibly excited and thankful for the opportunities and connections that we are making through this collaborative effort with Goodwill. Our action item for this evening is a proposal for new school food nutrition salary scales. Earlier this semester, I shared with you that while we are certainly concerned with all staff and job families, we must pay particular attention to the jobs that are the hardest to fill. At that time, we spoke about our bus drivers and the double-digit vacancy rate in that category, and you took action to address that need by increasing the pay scale for our drivers. As a result, we have seen a significant increase in the number of applicants, and now have many who are studying for their CDL Learner's Permit test, as well as several who have already passed and begun the training process. Tonight, we bring to you our job family with the second highest vacancy rate, school food nutrition. Many of the same initiatives that would have appealed to our drivers are applicable to this job family as well, including the optional 4.5% contribution, removal of tuition, and the ability for them to drive bus routes for additional income. In analyzing our growing vacancy rate, you can again see that beginning in May of 2021 at a 5%, 1 year later at 8%, a year later at 12%, and now currently sitting at 15%, we have to question what can we do further to assist in this endeavor. In doing that, we again looked at comparing our pay scales to that of other districts in our RESA. When looking at the 12 districts we were able to gather data from, Oconee ranks 12th in both starting pay and ending pay for school food nutrition. Our proposal this evening is to enhance our school food nutrition pay scales to be more competitive with our neighboring districts. The scales presented before you will place Oconee at the top in our RESA for starting and ending pay, and provide a raise each and every year that our school food nutrition employees work for the district. The superintendent's recommendation is for the board to approve the new school food nutrition pay scales tonight to be effective retroactively to the start of the current pay period, February 15th, 2024. Board members, we are asking for that approval tonight rather than next week in order to allow our business services division, pending your approval, the opportunity to process this in time for our March payroll. This concludes Human Resources report, but we remain available for any questions.
Questions? Mr. Burgess?
Justin, one, let me say thanks for sort of focusing in on this, just like the bus drivers. You're right, we have to pay attention to those areas where we're having serious difficulty in filling positions, and obviously this is one that's continued to worsen over the last couple of years, so appreciate you spending some effort to focus on this and suggest some solutions. Specifically, to implement this scale now and next year, what would be the cost this fiscal year to put this in place, and the annualized cost of this for next year?
Sure, so based on the salary cost, the cost for the remainder of this school year, we go back to February 15th, it's about $122,000. And then moving forward, assuming a step increase as they move up each year, it would be about $360,000 annually.
Okay. Am I correct that this program, school nutrition, operates as an enterprise fund inside our operations and our budget?
Yes, sir.
Which technically means it generates the revenue that it uses to fund its operations for the most part?
For the most part, that's my understanding. Yes, sir.
Except in those rare years where it might have come up a little short, would need some additional help from the general fund to balance and make sure that we're operating school nutrition in each one of the schools. But it generally operates as an enterprise fund.
That's correct.
Is there enough money in the reserves of that enterprise currently to cover this proposal that you're making now?
Yes, sir, there is.
Okay. So this fiscal year and next fiscal year, the enterprise fund would wind up absorbing the cost of this this adjustment to all the salaries.
That is correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Is that based on being fully staffed, those numbers?
So the $122,000 for the remainder of this year is based off current staff that we have.
Yeah.
The $360 is based off a full staff.
And then those vacancy rates in RESA, when was that as of?
That was as of last week.
I'm surprised that so many, 0%.
Yes, ma'am.
One other question, Justin. The 15%. How many individuals does that represent? I mean, like, what's the total number of positions we have in this program, and how many? The 15% correlates in how many vacancies?
You know, Mr. Burgess, you would ask me the one question. So I'll I'll get that information to Dr. Branch for you. So,
I knew if I had tried, I'd get you.
it won't happen again.
It's still a lot, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is our Associate Superintendent's Report. Welcome, Dr. Liddell.
Good evening, everyone. The Associate Superintendent's Report contains 2 items of information and no action items for the March 11th Board of Education meeting. The first item of information is our school nutrition participation. You'll see here that we had an increase in both breakfast and lunch when compared to February of last year for our school nutrition participation. The second item of information is an update on our 6th grade athletic participation. I want to pause here and just again thank the board for their support of the school system and staff looking for opportunities to engage students outside of the school day. You'll recall we're in our first year of adding 6th grade athletics to our athletic program. And we had 32 students participate in winter sports, 32 6th graders participate in winter sports, which is about 5% of our total student population. That is in addition to the roughly 175 students we have participating in band and 135 students participating in chorus across our district, which are also co-curricular activities that have opportunities outside of the school day. So having a really good response in year 1, and just want to commend our administrators for really championing the opportunity for kids to participate outside of the school day and engaging our staff in supervising those activities. That concludes the Associate Superintendent's Report, unless there's any questions.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Student Services. Welcome, Ms. Corngold.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. Student Services has 2 information items for tonight and no action items. The first item of information is our Department of Education reviews each LEA's data to make a determination on their disproportionality. And for full year 24, there were no significant disproportionality representation or significant discrepancies. On this letter that you all will see is that IDEA has each state develop a state performance plan. And that is to evaluate the state's efforts in implementing the requirements under IDEA. The annual performance plan is the plan that reports the results. So the results are, for this particular reporting piece, was for 3 areas: significant disproportionality for identification, placement, or discipline, which we met; disproportion for representation, and that is for all ethnic groups and all disabilities. And then the third one is significant discrepancy in the areas of suspension and expulsion, and we met all of those areas for special education. And I want to definitely commend the administrators and all the work that they do at their individual schools to make sure that they are meeting all the needs of the special education students. The second item of information is our Georgia Health Survey. We have talked about this each month, that the Oconee County School administers the Georgia Health Survey to grades 3 through 12. We administered the parent survey and then the school personnel survey. The survey opened in October and it ended in March. The requirements were for a minimum of 75% participation on the student health survey, and then a minimum of 75% on the personnel survey, and then to have a minimum of 15 responses per school. We surpassed in all 3 pieces of the survey. Questions? That concludes the student service report.
Thank you. Next, we have operations. Welcome, Mr. Wilkinson.
Good evening. The Oconee County Schools Operations March 4th, 2024 Board of Education report contains 4 items of information and 1 action item for the March 11th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. First up, we have the energy report. It's been updated for the month of January. Next, we have the lead custodian meeting. The February lead custodian meeting was held on Thursday, February 8th, and was hosted by the team at Rocky Branch Elementary School. The team discussed equipment needs and repairs. Our custodial teams are to be commended for their rigorous work, ensuring that our schools are clean for health. Next item of information is a construction update. First off, we have the Instructional Support Center. They are diligently working away. There's a lot of people over there working. They are hanging drywall on the 3rd floor now. They've completed the 1st and 2nd. They're doing finishing on the drywall on the 2nd floor and begun painting on the 1st floor. And they've begun the mud bed for the tile, the ceramic tile in the restrooms. And lastly, they're making a great amount of progress on mechanical and electrical. So things are looking really great over there. Next, Michael Bridge Elementary School. The furniture arrived today, and as you can see, it's going in the building. Looks really good. They'll be finished with the installation of furniture tomorrow. We still have some cleanup items to do in the building, and we're still waiting on the generator to arrive for final installation to complete the project. Rocky Branch Elementary School. We have kicked off the project with a pre-construction meeting. They are working very hard to get materials ordered, make sure we have them all time, making plans to get things started, making sure that basically that they have everything planned and lined up so that we can go through this project fairly quickly this summer and get a great job in an on-time completion date. Finally, we have the district-wide generator project. We did receive bids for that week before last. And that is an action item for late that we're going to come to later. Fourth item of information is the transportation update. Over the last month, we had 59 field trips, 114 athletic trips, 30 special education trips, 203 buses were deployed for all of these trips, for a total of 15,971 miles. Finally, our action item is the superintendent's recommendation is for the Board of Education to approve qualified electrical contractors for the district-wide generators project for a proposed cost of $1,170,075. This project will be funded with general fund and ELOS dollars. And that concludes the operations report unless there are any questions.
Any questions?
Oh. Yes, sir.
Fred, how many different proposals did we get for the generator project?
We only received one proposal. However, we did advertise on the Georgia State Procurement Registry and all the required places that we're supposed to. We had 3 different contractors show up for their mandatory pre-bid conference, and they participated and went to all the different sites and reviewed. But in the end, only one actually submitted.
Was chose not to bid. And this is for generators for all of our school buildings.
This will complete. We have a number of schools that do have generators on the freezer coolers. This is for a generator on the freezer cooler at all of the schools.
For the others that didn't already have it.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I first saw this, I thought it had to be a mistake, because if I'm remembering correctly, this was within $75 of the amount that we set aside about this time last year for this project. So I don't know how you pulled that off.
So actually,
but a year ago, we set aside.
I want to give Steve Breinbaum credit for that. He actually budgeted this job and deserves all the credit.
Well, we need to let him help us budget a little more. Because it was about this time last year when we set aside a number of funding items to cover a bunch of projects that we knew were coming, and this is within $75 of what we set aside a year ago.
Yes, sir.
Kudos to you guys for that. Very good.
Thank you.
I got one more question. How many generators total was that? How many generators total?
Let me get back to you. I don't want to guess.
Does that cover installation and the cost of them?
Yes, sir. That's a turnkey package. That's the cost of purchasing them and installing and the transfer switches, everything.
Do you recall, where is this company based?
qualified there. Statham and Bogart won. I'm not sure which. They're close.
I'll keep the questions coming. So, these are natural gas?
It's a mix of natural gas and diesel. There are certain locations where it's just not cost feasible to run natural gas, and the diesel is just a better option. So we just implemented, whichever generator was the most cost effective fit.
And so for those that are diesel, there's a tank there to continue to supply diesel in the event that it's needed for an extended period of time?
Yes, sir. It's my understanding that usually a generator fuel tank is designed to run the generator for about 5 days.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have communications. Welcome, Mr. Coughlin.
Thank you, Ms. Argo, board members, Dr. Branch, good evening. We continue to be very happy with our social media impressions. You'll see there that we had 48 posts last month on the different platforms, and for an average of 8,900 per. So we're very excited about that. We thank our community partners, we thank the parents and the students and teachers and just everyone that's following us on social media. We really appreciate that. Our goal each month or each week is to have meaningful content, and we believe that we do, and I believe the numbers are bearing that out. We also had right at 7,700 people receive and open our newsletter last month, so we had really good numbers, as Dr. Branch mentioned earlier, about getting that good news out, so we're excited about that. We're also seeing on the different platforms different audiences, so we're keeping that in mind. The Twitter group last month was most happy with the Counselors Week and FFA, and the Instagram followers were most happy with the Governor's Honors Program, excuse me, and the Pope Brothers Custodians piece that we did. And then on Facebook, 7 of the top 8 were sports related, including the flag football recognition held in this room at the beginning of the month. And I want to thank you for the time that we spend doing that. I know it takes a few minutes for me to read all those names and get that photo taken, but we're seeing that on social media, on Twitter especially, those are some of our most popular posts each month. So thank you for allowing us to have that time. The 8th piece that was not sports related was in regards to the traffic signal at Oconee County High School. And not only was that a high number for us and performed well for the district, but it was shared 75 times. We've never seen a number that high. So we're just excited about the numbers and where they're going. Again, we're just so thankful for all the people that are following us on social media. Are there any questions about social media before we move to the next part?
Yeah, but I really enjoyed that Pope Brothers story. I thought that was really neat.
I did too.
Thank you. We're excited about the voice-over work that we have with that. That's my wife. Thank you. Any other social media questions? Okay. And then next we have for our final information item, the highlights video for February. those communications unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is action items. Dr. Branch.
Yes, ma'am. We do have just the one action item, which is the school food nutrition salary scales. Appreciate the work of operations, HR, and business services to prepare the information presented before you, and would recommend that that be approved as presented.
We need a motion to do so.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Ransom?
Second.
Ms. Parrish, all in favor? Passes 5-0. All right, we have a need to go into executive session and need a motion to do so.
I'll make a motion that the board will adjourn to executive session to discuss and deliberate upon personnel matters as described on the affidavit to be attached to the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Burgess, all in favor? Passes 5-0.
Okay, we'll take a few minutes to clear the room for executive session.